What's going on, guys? My name is Jack, and today we are going to do our best to try and predict the 2024-2025 Premier League season. Now, I've been watching the Premier League for the past 3-4 seasons now, so I have a pretty good grasp on how this works now. So in my opinion, I feel like that makes me qualified to do predictions. Just to remind you, these predictions are not based off opinion, they are based off of facts, so everything I say is 100% correct. In all seriousness, this is just a prediction. I'm just here to have fun, and who knows, maybe at the end of the season I'll look back at my predictions, see how terrible or good that I did. So without further ado, let's get into the predictions. But before we do that though, first I'm just going to show you the tiers. Bottom is relegation, bottom 3 spots. 15 to 17 is just fringe relegation teams that I don't really see doing well, but teams that are going to do well enough to avoid relegation. Mid-table is mid-table. Pushing Europe is pushing Europe. These are the teams that I think can qualify for Europe this season, but I personally do not think so. These spots right here, obviously Europa League, Conference League, and then we have Champions League as well as the champions. So without further ado, let's get started. Unfortunately, coming in at rock bottom, as much as I want to see these guys succeed, I do not think they are going to, and that being Ipswich Town. Now, with Ipswich Town, let's not look past their success story. They just got promoted these past 2 seasons in a row, and they are ready for the Premier League. But in my opinion, all good stories come to an end. Granted, they have a really good manager, but the only issue is that their players are still from League One, really. And I just don't think they're ready for the Premier League. I think it is too soon for them to be in the Premier League, and which is what makes me believe they're going to finish bottom. But to Ipswich Town fans out there, this season, just have fun. Just have fun supporting your team in the Premier League. It's first time in the Premier League since the year I was born. So this is my first time seeing them in the Premier League. So we're just going to have fun watching you guys. And, if you guys do make it out of relegation, then great, but if not, then I wouldn't be surprised, unfortunately. Coming in 19th place, I have Nottingham Forest. Yeah, I think Forest is going to get relegated this year. I think it's kind of time. Now, a lot of their players are a mixture of good players that aren't doing good for their parent club, or players that are coming from Wonder Kid status down to Nottingham Forest, which is very interesting. Like Callum Hudson-Odoi, Morgan Gibbs-White, players like those. And granted, on paper, they realistically should not get relegated. But I just think because it's a mixed bag of tricks, coaching has been inconsistent. I just think this year is their time to get relegated, and I'm sorry, Forest fans, but it's time to go. Time to pack you guys up. Now, coming in at 18th might be a surprise to some, but this is predictions. We're going to have fun with it. I have Brentford getting relegated. Now, the reason why I have Brentford getting relegated is just because they haven't really made any changes to this team. They had a poor season last year, and with the potential loss of Ivan Toney for the whole season, and with Igor getting hurt, I'm going to be honest, I don't see where production is going to happen on this team. Now, I could be wrong. I probably will be wrong. This is just a very out-of-nowhere prediction. But I just don't see Brentford having a good season, and honestly, I can see them getting relegated this year. That's just really how it goes, unfortunately. But if Toney does stay, they will most likely be like a fringe relegation team, honestly. But if he goes, I wouldn't be surprised if they got relegated. All honesty. Coming in 17th place, I have Southampton. Yes, I have Southampton surviving. Reasoning, they have Premier League experience. And, I just want to make my list interesting. I'm going to be honest with you. In real life, this is most likely not going to happen. If they get 17th place, then I am just the best predictor of all time, and I deserve a medal. But for this prediction right here, this is kind of just for giggles, for laughs, but honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they did make it to a spot like this, because this is a team That is young. They're hungry. They're excited. They just got back up to the Premier League after finishing very badly at the bottom 2 years ago. So we'll see what happens here with them. I wouldn't be surprised if they avoid relegation, but I have them surviving this. And kind of following their path, in 16th, I have Leicester. For the same exact reasoning, but they have even more Premier League experience. Granted, I do not think they're going to be that good this year, but I think they're going to be good enough to avoid relegation, and I can see Leicester kind of gaining that traction back to come back to the form they used to have. Obviously, they're not going to be champions again. Let's just get out the way. But maybe we can see them start to push Europe again in a couple of years. I can see that happening with Leicester City. But at the same time, this season, you never know what can happen in the Premier League. The Premier League is stronger than ever before, and this really could be a season where, again, they can get relegated again and kind of become a yo-yo club. That's the term. You never know what's going to happen in the Premier League, but I have them firmly at 16th place, avoiding relegation. Now, the last fringe relegation team I have is Fulham, finishing in 15th. Losing Palhinha is huge. It is a huge loss. And that midfield is not going to be as, I wouldn't say dominated, but commanded as well as it was before. Now, I will say, Emil Smith Rowe has the potential to have a really good season. I mean, like, he scored within 7 minutes of his debut. Granted, preseason indicators take with a grain of salt, but to me, that is still very impressive. But overall, Fulham, I don't see them getting relegated at all, actually. But 15th place, I think, is the lowest they can possibly go, and I have them going there. But yeah, on to the mid-table teams. Coming in at 14th place, I have Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now, I don't know why I just said their full name like that. I could have just said Wolves, but they're a team that they're not going to get relegated, but they're not going to push for Europe. They're just there, really. They're kind of a team that you expect to compete, but not do well at the same time. They're one of those teams. To me, Wolves have talent that is not to be underestimated, but at the same time, I don't see them achieving anything, really. I would be shocked if they even finished in the top 10 or anywhere even close to it, but 14th is a pretty safe spot for them, in my opinion. Coming in 13th, I have Everton. Last year in Goodison Park, they're going to make it count. They're not going to get relegated. They, weirdly enough, have a Champions League-esque defense, but a championship-esque attack, and it's kind of weird. It's a weird dynamic that they have, but Everton's going to be a team that they're going to draw a lot. They're not going to get too many wins, not many huge wins. They're going to be a team that will keep it close, though. Like, it's going to be like 1 goal, maybe 2, with their occasional getting destroyed by City. But that's everybody, though. I'm just convinced at this point that Everton just has an invincibility token, and they're never going to get relegated from the Premier League, no matter who they have or who they employ. They could literally have the entirety of Luton Town's team from last season, and they'll still finish 15th, and they will not get relegated. They have some kind of invincibility that way. I don't know. That's just how the Premier League works. Coming in 12th, I have Brighton. Now, Brighton, they looked really good 2 seasons ago, where they made Europa League. People were shocked at that. But I think losing De Zerbi is going to be bigger than a lot of people think. And they're still bringing in talent, but they lost Pascal Gross, which, yeah, nothing crazy, but at the same time, like, that's a key piece in your midfield that you're losing. And granted, their young talent has been really good these past couple of seasons, and I expect that to be the same. But I think with a new coach, they're not going to put it together as well. Yeah, they're not even going to be close to getting relegated, but they sit firmly in mid-table for me. Coming in 11th place, I have Bournemouth. Ooh, that's not Bournemouth. Coming in 11th place, I have Bournemouth. I think they're going to be the shock at the Premier League. I think they can kind of have a Crystal Palace-esque season this season, like they had last year. I'm a big fan of Areola, and I think the more he has time in Bournemouth, the more they're going to go up. Now, do I think they're ever going to push Europe? maybe. I think with Solanke at striker, you're going to have a consistent goal scorer that's going to carry you far and away. If they didn't have Solanke, I'd probably be pushing them to get relegated right now. But Solanke is such a huge piece to this team, and they have a pretty good squad behind him too that they're building. Honestly, this team has the potential to push for Europe, but not yet. They're 11th place right now and sitting firmly in mid-table with Brighton. Brighton and Bournemouth to me are interchangeable. So, I don't know. I just wouldn't be surprised if Bournemouth finishes high. A lot of people probably are, but who knows? Now, coming in 10th place and rounding out mid-table is going to be Crystal Palace. I think they're going to finish in the same spot they finished last year. Elise is a big loss. Very big loss. But I just think with the momentum that they had with Glasner as their coach, I can see them finishing in the same place as last season. It's looking more and more likely as days go by that Eze is most likely going to stay. But there is the potential he leaves for Tottenham, unfortunately. But if he stays, 10th place pretty firmly. Right now, they're the definition of a mid-table team, but they have a promising future. Mark Gehi's good. Wharton's going to get better. And I also think Kamada is going to be a solid replacement for Elise. So we'll see what happens with them. I'm excited for Crystal Palace this season, and I would not underestimate them whatsoever to make some big upsets this year. Coming firmly in 9th place, pushing Europe, is going to be West Ham United. Losing David Moyes sucks, but West Ham, they've been making some signings this summer. Signing Füllkrug, signing Somerville, and I think bringing in a youngster like Guillorme, I think that's how you pronounce it. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But West Ham is kind of cooking up a squad that can push for Europe this year, and who knows how the new coach is going to be, but we'll see what happens. Coming in 8th place this season is going to be Aston Villa. Now, I know, they qualified for Champions League, they got Amadou Onana, they made some good signings, but I just do not think they're going to balance Premier League and Champions League well. They're kind of going to fall under the same fate as Newcastle, unfortunately, last season. Not saying they're going to get hurt. I obviously can't say that. That's a little bit disrespectful. But I just don't think they're going to be as good as they were last season, especially because last season, yes, they were in the Conference League, but it's the Conference League. This is the Champions League now. Instead of versing little clubs from Hungary and Czech Republic, you're going to be playing Inter Milan, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, and PSG. You're going to be playing clubs like that. You're not going to be able to handle the pressure, especially for a club that is not used to these type of fixtures. That's exactly what happened in Newcastle last season and why they kind of folded and why they had so many injuries too. They're going to fall under the same fate, unfortunately, and 8th place they go. Coming in at 7th place might come as a shock to some people. For me, not really. I have Chelsea. Listen, what are Chelsea doing? Let's just ask that question first. What is Chelsea doing and what are they trying to accomplish here? I feel like they bring in a new youngster like every other day, it appears, but they get rid of their established players that are sticking to their glue. Like they just got rid of their captain, Conor Gallagher. Like, I don't understand what Chelsea's trying to do here. And the whole Enzo Fernandez saga isn't helping either. A lot of locker room turmoil, new coach left and right. Like, what, is their 6th coach in the past 2-3 seasons? Like, it's kind of pathetic if you ask me. And this club is being ran poorly. As much as I dislike Chelsea, they deserve better than this. And unfortunately, just because of their lack of identity and lack of consistency, they are going to finish 7th, right outside of Euro positions, in my opinion. Coming in 6th place, I have Newcastle United. I think Newcastle can come back from last season and qualify for Europe. They have no distractions. They have arguably the same team they've had the past couple seasons, and they get Tonali back. I just think they're going to be better. They're going to be healthier. They're going to be more consistent, more persistent. They're going to be a much harder opponent than they were last season. And with having a taste of Europe, they're going to want to push back hard for it, and I think they're going to get it. I think 6th place is where they're going to finish. I'm excited for Newcastle. even though weirdly enough, Eddie Howe is like the favorite to get sacked first, I do not think that is going to happen unless he decides to take England job, which I do not think that's going to happen either. But at the end of the day, this league is unpredictable. Like, we can quite literally have Fulham finish top 10. We could have Crystal Palace getting relegated. Who knows what can happen in this league? Nobody knows. We live in a simulation. Coming in 5th place and barely missing out on Champions League football this season is Tottenham Hotspur. Now, Tottenham, they have a bit of an identity. Ange is proving to be a pretty decent manager, but I just don't think they have enough juice to get to that Champions League spot again. I think they're like 2 seasons off, and I think they need to make a few more signings. If they get Eze, I would be tempted to throw them at the 4th place. But as of right now, with the signings that they have, I just do not think Tottenham is going to finish Champions League. Now, granted, this season they are in Europa League. I think they should push more for that than the league this year, because let's be real, Tottenham is not winning a title anytime soon, and as much as I do not want them to win a title or win any trophy at all, they should just gun for that and qualify Champions League that way. It's such a better option for them. You can finally win a trophy, and you get Champions League without really having to try in the league. But it's Tottenham. It's not going to happen. They're going to be right back in Europa League next season. This is where it gets good. Top 4, Champions League. Who is going to be champion? This is the best part of the video right here. This is what you've been waiting for. Coming in at 4th place, I am going to Liverpool. And there's 2 main reasons why I'm going 4th place for them and why they're not going to push for the title. 1, Arne Slot is not Jurgen Klopp. I know. He hasn't coached a game yet. Obviously, he's coached the friendlies. I've actually seen him live this year in Philly. And they beat Arsenal. So, I mean, yeah, it's a preseason friendly, but still, the support for Arne Slot is there. They were chanting his name. Clearly, he is supported. But it's going to take some adjustment time. Arne Slot, I think he's going to be a good manager moving forward, but he's not going to bring the same energy as Klopp did. And I think they're going to start off slow, but they're still going to finish top 4. Second reason, they didn't make any signing. It is August 7th. They have still yet to make a signing. And I think I saw a stat that said Liverpool is the only team in top 5 league to not make a single signing. That's pretty bad. Now, Liverpool is a great team, don't get me wrong, but they're not even trying to make improvements. I've only seen one rumor for Zubamendi, and that's it. Other than that, they haven't done anything. I don't know, though. I don't think Liverpool's going to win. I think they'll finish here, though. But what I said before about if Tottenham get Eze, these 2 teams can swap. Coming in 3rd place, pretty obvious by looking at the bottom 3, it's Man United. Now, yes, did they finish 8th? They finished terrible last season. But I just think with the ambition that they have this year, with the players they're bringing in, Xerxes a great signing. Yoro, yes, he got hurt, is a great signing. And Jadon Sancho coming back with ambition to play for United feels like a signing in itself. I think it's time to give Erik ten Hag that kind of the props in the sense that he's really doing the best he can. Now, granted, if they don't finish top 4 and they finish in a place like they did last season, then everything I'm saying right now, out the window. Doesn't matter at all. But at the same time, this is something to be excited for Man United fans. And I'm very nervous. I'm very nervous to play against United this year. And I haven't said my team yet. And there's a reason why I haven't said it yet. But still, we're here. And United's going to be a lot better than last season. Granted, injuries have held them back so much as well. I didn't mention that. Like, they have Lisandro Martinez back. And with Lenny Euro already hurt, it's almost like they didn't even make a signing. So yeah, I have Man United firmly at 3rd place right now. And this is what we've all been waiting for. This is the top 2. I think this is the top 2 everyone expects. This is the top 2 that everybody is going to be anticipating. And if it's any different, it'll come as a shock. The question here rises, though. Will things change or will things stay the same? And my heart is telling me one thing. My head is telling me another. It all comes down to this. So getting a little bit of a drum roll going on right now. In second place, I have Manchester City. I did it, which means I have Arsenal champions. I did it, okay? I'm going with my heart on this one. Yes, City is City. They have the best players in the world. They have the best coach, arguably ever. They still are making signings. Well, actually, this offseason. Not really, actually. But besides the point. This Manchester City team is arguably the best team we have seen, arguably, in the 21st century. I think this can rival 2015 Barcelona or 2010's Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. They're up there. As much as people don't want to admit it, they are up there. If they win this season, it's 5 in a row. But I just think that Arsenal finally has the edge, which is, I don't think Man City's going to have any fatigue. I think they're going to still get like 90 points. So I think Arsenal is going to win the league based off of pure ambition. In my opinion, Arsenal is the best defense in all of Europe. All of Europe. Is it close? Absolutely. The only two teams you can argue has a better defense is City or Everton. No, I'm just kidding. Real Madrid. But yes, Arsenal still haven't made that signing to get a top tier striker. And that is a little scary to me because admitting time, I'm an Arsenal supporter. They're my team. They're the team I want to win. And call me biased, yes, but I just think logically it's time. It's time for us to push. It's time to make the next step into winning a title. It's been 20 years. How much longer are we going to sit here and finish second place, finish below everybody? Like, it's time to win, and I think we finally have the team that is going to do it. It's going to be close. Obviously these two are interchangeable, but it really could be any team. It could be any of these two. And I think it's going to come down to a flip of a coin. I don't think any of them are going to run away with it. I think it's going to be like last season. Last game is going to determine a lot. But this is where my heart firmly sits. Arsenal is heavily linked with Ivan Toney. And if we get Ivan Toney, this further supports my theory right now. With or without him, I have him winning the league. So yeah, this is my Premier League for this coming season. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any thoughts, rebuttals, any changes you think I should have made, leave them in the comments below. Leave a like, subscribe. Until next time, peace.